Welcome to Moment to Moment. My name is Lynda Hope, and I hope you stay around for at least 60 minutes because we have a special guest, Amara Charles, who will be talking to us about our relationships, our close, sexual, beautiful, holy, loving relationships. And it's very, as you know, can be very complicated, but she is so amazing at simplification and really coming from your heart and letting that be your guidance system. So we're going to introduce her in a short while, but first we're going to just sort of settle into where we are right now because this show is called Moment to Moment, as you know, and we want to be fully present and fully here, focused exactly on this moment to hear and to feel into what this moment represents and brings to us in our consciousness, because we are, as you know, all consciousness. So let's get settled in our chair. Just put your feet beautifully on Mother Earth and allow our breath to just carry us nice and gently into this moment. And as we sit in this chair with no distractions, please shut off anything that is a distraction, even your mind, which is the greatest of all distractions, isn't it? So let's just take a beautiful cleansing breath in. Let it out through the mouth. Again, deep breath in. Let it fill you up with beautiful energy and let it go with anything that doesn't serve you in your out breath. And now let's focus in on the energy that's coming in through your feet from Mother Earth. Just let it come up through your ankles, your feet, your ankles, your knees, your legs, and let it just beautifully resonate all the way up into your heart, into the heart chakra. And let that continue from the bottom of your feet. Make it a beautiful flow into the heart. And now we're going to carry the energy from the celestial energy of the sun and the stars down into the crown chakra. Bring it all the way, beautiful light to bathe you, all the way down into your heart, and let it illuminate you and fill you with light and love and all that you are. And just continue that beautiful energy from above and from beneath into your heart. And we feel that deeply. I know that we are all from that source, all from source energy, and source energy is everywhere, permeates everything and all of us as one. Just feel the oneness connection and know that we are being breathed. And we all are every day, every minute, every moment. Okay, so now take another beautiful breath in. Sigh it out. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and join into this beautiful moment of co-creation. Yes. Okay. I'm excited to interview and to introduce Amara Charles, and she is an author, teacher, and guide whose work bridges ancient shamanic wisdom and contemplative traditions with down-to-earth embodied practice. Her book, The Sexual Practice, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but she will correct me if it needs correcting. Quodoushka opened an international conversation about sacred sexuality that is warm, courageous, and real. Drawing on Buddhist and shamanic teachings, Amara helps people shed shame, reclaim joy in their bodies, and listen for the quiet voice of their own inner wisdom. Known for her blend of laughter, candor, and spiritual depth, she leads retreats and trainings that reconnect mind, body, and heart through love, awareness, and the art of presence. She makes her home in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And her ability to get a hold of, if you want to get a hold of her, it's Amara, Amara, Charles.com. She's also offering our listeners today a gift. And so we're going to talk to that in a minute, but I want to bring Amara on. Are you there, Amara?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yay.
What a lovely way to begin. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So great to have you here. And we are right down the street practically from each other.
It's fantastic. And I'm
I
really
know.
glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So I was going to say the gift that you're offering is a 45-minute relationship clarity call. So if our listeners will go to your website, www.amaracharleslove.com/apply, and they will get a 40. Tell me about that. What are you offering?
Well, the call is called a clarity call for relationships. So whatever place you are in a relationship,
Mhm.
we'll take a look into what's working, what's not working, and what's possible. And we'll take a deep dive and look into this, and then we'll explore the clarity of your next steps.
Right. And I read in your information that you sent every week, I think, or is it every day that you send your um, followers or a database or whatever you want to call it, your beautiful friends, you send a beautiful message to them. And I was reading it actually today, and I said, this is something that people really, really need to know about because the clarity call, you mentioned that you become this person who's in a relationship and there's a place of limbo and you're not listening to your heart. You're sort of in your head with the stories, and then now you're caught in between. You don't know which direction to go. I've been there so many times I can't even mention. I'm not proud of it, but I've been there so many, and I make excuses. Well, and then I count up all the things that are great, about the person and all the things that are not so great, that kind of thing. And then you're still in limbo. So you're here just to listen. I think that's what you said. I'm here to listen. I'm here to be a holding space for you. I'm not judging you, right? And then they're able to express it in such a way that they can reveal it for themselves. Is that how that works?
Well, I'm doing more than only listening. I'm also having a conversation
Okay.
because it's really nice to be heard
Okay.
and it's nice to be understood as well. Sometimes one of the steps is, to get out of limbo is, to have a place, a safe space to vent if you need to just let it out if you need to be real and have somebody really hear you. And then uh, to in a judge-free zone, non-judgmental, um, to really take a look at what hurts about it, where is the struggle, where's the pain, and when it's expressed, very often what happens is there begins to be more of an opening. Okay, once we've expressed, instead of holding back or trying to sound all together, we realize that it's a safe space, and so then we're more open to saying, okay, now what is possible? We take a look at, instead of the whole story and just turning that around and around. Once that's spoken, and then we can take a look into, okay, then what can we do next to get some clarity about what makes sense for you according to what the whole relationship is really about. What I like to do is also get people in touch with, um, you know, why why did we start this thing to begin with?
Mhm.
Why do we want this to be different? That's also a part of clarity. The urgency of, I really, something hurts, something isn't right, something is off, whether that's intimacy or communication or all of the above.
Mhm. Mhm.
Is that me?
I'm not sure. Now, I think you mentioned that you look at pattern behavior, correct?
Yes, I do. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I look at the patterns of behaviors, and I really look into, mm, I'm sorry. I really look into what's the core of what's not working. I
Mhm.
call it the core liberation. We got to find out. I call it a fire knot. There's these core patterns that we have that keep us tight, that keep us caught and stuck. Okay. So when we begin to look at these shine a little light there, put a little love there, that tightness begins to relax a little bit. And so then we can take a look at not just analyzing what the problems are, but also feeling what would what would change them, what would make this tightness relax more. And I'll talk more about that later as we go, what that really looks like.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm sure the listeners are already getting some beautiful insights just by what you just said. Can you explain? I know I must have mispronounced that word. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's called it's Quodoushka.
Okay, so you said you wrote a book that was inspired by the sexual practices of Quodoushka, right?
Yes, perfect.
And
Yes.
and
You
and
can
what
you
is
can say you can say the Q from now on.
you can. Okay,
You can
good.
just call it the Q.
Good. And what has been most impactful for the people who are reading this book? What do you feel are the really takeaways?
Well, I have to say the most popular part is something called the sexual anatomy types. I
Mm,
mean, there's pictures and so forth, and people just fast forward to that and find out that it's very interesting. You can be a wolf woman or a cat woman, very empowering anatomy types, and essentially, or a horseman or a bear man, and so forth. And they all have different qualities and different way that you approach lovemaking. And so this, from a very earth-based perspective, it shows us essentially how we can shed the shame around, if there's any shame around our genitals or the way we feel about our bodies. It helps you to like say, well, I'm a horseman or I'm a wolf woman, okay? And so that's been the most impactful thing, is that it really helps people to see sexuality as something natural,
mm,
as something that we were all born from, and ultimately as a spiritual doorway.
hmm. Okay. And then each of those have a description of what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're very very beautiful. For example, as a wolf woman, I tend to like to have my brain, my mind turned on
Mm,
before any intimacy, before lovemaking, and that really turns on. That really ignites my heart,
mm,
right? So that
mm,
turns me on, and so that's a wolf woman.
mm,
And so, a sheep woman, for example, she is turned on primarily to begin with her heart, with romance, with sweetness, with tenderness. And
mm,
so all the mind stuff is like that's not that important. But for her, her doorway into opening herself is through her heart.
mm, mhm.
Okay. And so that's there's some of the differences like that. And it's really fascinating. There's
Right, right.
there's different male types and female types. But the main thing, again, is that overall, when we begin to embrace our sexuality as a birthright,
Mhm,
then the the hesitations, the confusion, the messiness, it doesn't take over. It doesn't govern our sexuality. When I was learning about this into the beginning, I mean, my life honestly was like a kind of a beautiful mess. It was, I grew up in a family where we didn't talk about sex. So it wasn't bad or horrible or anything, but it just wasn't ever talked about. And I had no idea that it was something that you could learn about. In fact,
Yeah. Yeah.
when I showed my mother the book, she saw the title. It was about sex, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to know about this." and and so it was really a huge discovery of mine to realize that, oh my goodness, there's so much to learn. There's so much that we can learn to bring in our relationships to make them more alive, more happy, more connected.
Mm. And this is how that's how you got started, huh? With
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and that's, that's how I got started. I mean, I got started like I think many of us is just fumbling around, you know,
mhm,
and just figuring it out. I like to say that our sexuality is sometimes kind of like a weed. You could try to cut it off, you could try to hide it, to cover it and everything, but it's gonna be there. It's gonna grow back, right? It's a really, really powerful energy. So for goodness sakes, it's the energy that we're born from.
mhm,
And my whole life has really been about, all right, but then if that's true, if it's such a universal life force, powerful energy, it's the source of where we came from, well, then how can we use this wisely,
mhm.
with
Beautiful.
care, with love, instead of confusion and suppression?
Beautifully said. Yes, yes. I mean, speaking of that, I remember my mother when I was very young, she said, now remember, put your feet on the ground. Don't allow your feet, don't go recline.
But
Put your
what's
feet
funny
on
about
the
that?
ground.
You know
But she
what's
was,
funny about that?
yeah,
You're still doing that, only now you do it in meditation.
that's right. You're right. Yeah. And as I was saying it, I was thinking, wow, she wise because it's all about
Right,
grounding and
right, right.
not allowing yourself to go off into this like crazy whatever. It is about center. It is about heart.
Yes. Yes, I
And
agree. I think there's some wisdom there in the mother's wisdom. Is like, our parents, they do want to protect us. They don't want to repress us, right? They want us to be safe, by and large, they
yeah,
really do. And so there are guardrails put in. But the problem becomes is when those guardrails turn into these huge places where we shut down,
mhm,
we go numb, or we, go off and just use things like in a haphazard manner. We use our sexuality and can often like hurt others because we're careless and we don't know better, right? So a lot of this is really not our fault. That's why I've really dedicated a great deal of my life to help people to, get back to the core connection
mhm, mhm,
of their life force energy, because it's really vibrant and really alive when it can be harnessed to bring us closer rather than to separate us.
mm. And I think it's also bringing us closer to God, to Source, because I mean, more so now than ever, having gotten into a higher level of light and vibration,
Yes.
I'm finding that the sexual act is actually elevating that even greater. And
Yes.
it's like in touching the divine. And it's like when you're with your partner and that's a union there as well. That is, I think it's as blissful as you're going to get myself. And it continues to inform your Kundalini. It's more like a Kundalini energy blast. Yeah, right. And it's igniting
Absolutely.
all of your chakras and opening it all up and allowing the flow in a way that's yeah, that just feeds it continuously.
It is very profoundly beautiful. And most of us discover this on our own, right? That,
Mhm.
hey, this is really uh, beautiful. And when you regard it, when you have an understanding that indeed this is the energy that creates us, so why would we, try to hide that, or put that down, or misuse that? And so when we really understand that this is the energy that can, in a relationship, just really nourish us, and yet we know this.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, of course, it's a beautiful, wonderful idea. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Right, right.
And I mean, once you're introduced to this idea, I mean, I like to say when you are in the throes of ecstasy,
Mhm,
and I've taught all over the world, right?
mhm.
What do you say when you're in the height of an orgasm? Oh my God, right? you know,
Right, right,
and you
right.
say, I'm coming. You don't say, I'm leaving now. I'm going, I'm out of here,
I'm out here. Yeah.
So there's this
Yeah.
sense that
True.
the depth of our sexuality is this knowing that I'm coming home. When we touch source, when we allow ourselves to fully allow the full forces of our energy to
Mhm.
flow
Mhm.
fully, thoroughly through every cell of our body, where our toes are tingling, the hair on the back of our neck, the to the tips of our fingers, every place in our body
Mhm.
becomes alive with life. That's why it feels so good,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
because it's so powerful, because it feels so good, that's why, a lot of us get messed up, because it is a fierce and alive energy. And so there is also the part in us that wants it very much. There's a part that craves after it. There's a part of us that suffers when we don't feel that
Mhm.
closeness. And I'm not just talking about the act of intercourse. I'm also talking about touch. I'm
Mhm.
talking about connection of the heart. All
Yes.
of this is our sexuality. It's just not, what you do
Mhm.
in the dark with the lights off.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Or on.
It's
Or on.
or
Yeah.
on or full on, with the kids hearing and the kids listening and you're being just fully open of saying, yes, this is a beautiful part of life. This is who I am, instead of just kind of squirreling it away and saving it for later.
Yeah, right, right, right. And then, of course, it's the right partner.
Yes.
Or should we say not right? I don't want to be judgmental, right or wrong, but I guess a partner that aligns with you, that energetically you can feel that well, how do I say it? When like that circuit, like a complete circuit with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Well,
it,
here's what absolutely, what I call that is like you want to have a full body yes.
mhm,
Where your
mhm,
heart's saying yes, your mind's saying yes, your whole body is saying yes.
mhm.
And if it is well, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe that's kind of a no, right? That's so, that's one of the things that we can develop because that's part of the confusion.
Mhm, mhm.
Should I open myself fully? Should I make love with this person? And we've all been in that position of wondering, right?
Right.
Is this right? Your body is saying, yeah, I really want to, or your body is saying, no, I don't really want to. And so we do need to learn to listen. And that's a lot of what
Mhm,
I help people to do is listen to those voices of the body, listen to your yes, but also listen to the no's as well.
mhm,
So one of the things that I do is I have people go around all day in a whole day, 24-hour period, just say yes to everything
mm,
and see what that feels like. And then go around all day long, say no, no,
mhm.
no to everything. That's where I find people have a lot of challenge. It's like they say yes when they mean no, and they say no when they really would rather be saying yes, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So we can learn how to honor our own yeses and listen to those no's. So there's a difference, like a no that's habitual of no, I never want to, no, I'm never gonna, no, I never have to, I no, 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 I'm never gonna do this. That's
mm.
that's just a shutdown no, and it's just kind of a habit, right? So you
Right.
have to get curious about your no's of like, why am I, is it really something that I don't desire to be touched? Okay. Is there a yes hiding behind that no? Or is it just a no? So, you
Right,
know,
right.
and then the same thing with the yes. Am I just habitually saying, yes, I'll do whatever because he wants to or she wants to? And it's not my yes, it's actually somebody else's yes. So you
Mhm.
see, there's a lot of clarity. That's why I'm a big fan
Yeah,
of
yes, right. Yes,
clarity.
yes, yes. Right. No, so how does one recognize it within themselves? Is there, I mean, for me personally, I can see the difference between a yes and a no. But then sometimes I don't listen deeply enough and honor it. I'll feel the difference and but somehow I maybe will rationalize, and say, well, maybe, or doubt it, So that gets a little complicated. So is there a clear, some way that you can simplify it for our listeners so they can really understand it?
Yes, I mean, what you bring up is really the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's really, and this is something that we can practice and we can learn to listen
Mhm.
to our no's and to our yeses. And that's why I gave that little experience or that little hypothetical exercise of practice feeling.
Mhm.
This gets into really the core issue of everything, the underlying thing of everything that I teach.
Mhm.
And that is to learn to feel.
Mhm. Mhm.
The biggest thing underneath confusion and not knowing whether I should or I shouldn't, or if it's a yes or a no, is the avoidance of feeling. Okay.
Yes.
And so you said, I heard you say, I know how to see my yeses and no sometimes, right? And so my experience is that most of us have a habit of not wanting to feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So it's that tight feeling underneath of like, ooh, I don't want to decide. I don't want to say yes or I know. Maybe is safer, and that's okay. That's okay. But the root of it is there's a feeling, and this is the reason why I slow everything down so that you can notice your feelings. What am I feeling?
Right.
And this is a practice. And most of the time we just rush by that and we skip that part and we don't know. And when something is going on and we go right up into our heads and there isn't any feeling, there isn't any time to feel anything. And so I help people to like slow down when you have what I call like a little crunchiness, like somewhere in your something happens or somebody, you get a text, you
Mhm.
get a phone call, your partner says, no, I don't feel like it. Your body will do something. It'll get tight somewhere. Maybe it's in your shoulders or your neck or your tummy or your jaw. There
Mhm.
will be, and you can learn to notice that. You ask yourself where you feel the tightening. Sometimes you catch it right away, sometimes later, it doesn't matter. And you don't always catch it. But
Mhm.
if you ask the question, I feel this, I got to notice, I call it the light arrow of awareness. First of all, you have to notice that something's off. You got to feel that. You
Right.
don't have to figure it out. You don't have to analyze it. Okay. Most of the time, what people do is, I was just talking to a client and she said, they had a little tiff and her husband left and drove out of state and didn't say anything. Well, she was really hurt, and rightly so. I mean, he didn't say anything. They've been married forever, right? And so I just slowed it down and I said, okay, instead of telling me the story and going on and on, and it hurts and I get that, tell me, let's slow this down for a sec. Where do you feel that in your body, my dear? Where do you feel that in your body? And she started to tell the story again and again and again. And that's an avoidance. It's like, okay, no,
Mhm.
but he left and it isn't that really messed up? I said, yeah, it is really messed up. Okay. I'm married too. My partner, they're going to leave and they're not going to tell me. Yeah, I get it. It's messed up.
Mhm.
But where do you feel it in your body? Okay. First of all, it interrupts the story. First of all,
Mhm. Right.
you
Yeah.
got to stop the mind. You got to stop the wheel,
Right.
right? So just
Right.
slow it down. It's like, oh, I don't know. I never thought what a weird question, right?
Right.
But it's good and it's an intentional. It's just you kind of interrupt the brain story, and that's a good way. One good way is ask yourself, something feels yucky.
Yeah.
Where do I feel it in my body? And then you have to tune in to yourself, and it takes your attention off of them, and they're driving off into another state, and God knows what they're doing, and maybe they're
Mhm.
meeting somebody, and the mind goes
Wild.
It
Yeah.
goes wild with story. Okay.
Mhm.
So there ain't no feeling in that story
No.
anywhere. You will not. And so you you cause an interrupt to the story. And it's like, okay, well, where do I feel it in my body? So automatically, when you locate it, it's like, well, I kind of feel it in my jaw or my neck or something. Then there you've slowed it down, you've paused it.
Mhm.
Okay. Now you've got a chance. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you can do, I mean, I teach different things, but one thing you can do is take a breath. That's always a
Hmm.
good idea. So,
Right. Right.
okay, where do I feel it in my body? And the mind might start up again. Well, I feel it, blah, 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 and he did, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Right.
Okay, where do I feel it in my body? Pause and breathe. And then a really good question that often works for me and for a lot of people that I work with is then I ask this really cool question. I really believe in the power of asking yourself a question,
Mhm.
Lynda, because what it does is when you ask yourself a question, the brain cannot help but go and try to answer it.
Right.
And you can ask a stupid question. It's like, well, why did he get in the car? And then the brain will
Yeah.
go
Yeah. Yeah.
after that loop, right? But if
Mhm.
you ask yourself a different question like this, what am I making this mean?
What am I
It's a,
making this mean?
it's a really powerful question. Really powerful.
What?
Well, I'm making it mean that he doesn't love me and he's going out to visit another girl or see another
Mhm.
woman or something like that. And then stay on it. Breathe, pause, say, what am I making this mean? What else could this possibly mean? Maybe he just needed some man time on the road by himself. I
Mhm.
did, and actually said that yesterday
Mhm.
on the phone. And she was like, oh, I never thought of that. Because we get so entranced in our own meaning and our own story that we can't feel. And then when the mind gets curious like this for a second, then then there's a chance to see it a little bit differently and also to be a little bit curious about like, okay, you know, what do I really want here?
Right. Instead of being totally the victim of it, it changes it into a broader perspective potentially. And
Yes, exactly.
and
Hmm.
it brings maybe more of a concern on what happened to him or what's going on in his reality versus
Yes, a little bit of
yeah,
compassion.
a little
Yeah,
compassion. Yeah, yeah,
correct.
beautiful. I
Correct.
just wanted to mention for the listeners, you're listening to Amara Charles talking about her beautiful book and the sexual practices. I'm going to try to pronounce it again. Quodoushka, is that right? I think
Well, that's a fan. I never heard that one.
it's
It's
all right.
Quodoushka.
Quodoushka.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And you can get a hold of Amara Charles on Amara Charles. You can talk to her, amaracharles.com, and go to her website, amaracharleslove.com.
No, it's just amaracharles.com.
It is. Okay, perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
It's
the
just,
45-minute
yeah,
relationship
correct. It's for
polarity call.
the apply thing. It's just amaracharles.com.
Yeah, perfect.
And,
Perfect.
I just want to mention because we both live in Santa Fe here
Mhm.
briefly.
Yeah.
Once or twice a year, I teach a live workshop.
Right. Oh,
I
I'd
am
love to hear about
teaching
it.
that
Yes.
here in Santa Fe, and I'm
Yay.
really
Yes.
excited. Where I really share these principles in nature, and it's
Mhm.
very, very um, beautiful.
Can you
And
say where and what date that is?
I can say that it's September 23rd through the 27th, and it's in a retreat center outside of Santa Fe. We reveal the exact location once you have registered. And I talk to everybody who comes, make sure you're ready and that kind of thing. But we have openings now. It's starting to fill already, but
Oh,
we do
wow.
have openings for this retreat. And again, it's September 23rd through the 27th. It's the
Mhm.
ceremonial Quodoushka. And I'm bringing in a teacher from Europe, and it's
Ooh.
just it's all inclusive. You just have to
Mhm.
arrive and then be taken care of.
Ah, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you. You're listening to Moment, and if you want to hear this again, just go to momenttomoment.com or KSFR, sorry, .com and listen to click on programs and go to Moment to Moment. You can hear it again. We're also on Spotify. So you can absolutely look at the date, which is May 26th, and you can check it out. Perfect. All right. So we have just, about 25 minutes left.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. So let's go on to this question. How can sexuality become spiritual?
Well, I think we've been discussing that. And I remember when you came to a little intro that I held here
Yes.
in Santa Fe here. And I think that's close to the first time we met, or one of the first times it was close.
Right.
And the the very act of slowing everything down,
Mhm.
of just being fully into the sensation of touch itself without story, without wondering where this is going to go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the stuff the mind does. This ability, this practicing the ability to slow down and get this, actually be in your body while you are touching and being touched.
Mhm. Okay.
This is what eliminates, let's say, or reduces that split between being outside the body, being in your head, being somewhere else, and being at home in your body, which is what we do when we meditate.
Mhm.
We simply want to be in the present moment and in our beingness and in the ground of being, and simply be one with what is happening in the moment, not jumping out, not jumping back, etc.
Mhm.
Simply being present.
Right.
And when you, like, meditation, I think is a great practice for lovemaking.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Yes,
It can
absolutely.
actually, you can be a beautiful lover. And I'm sure you've experienced this, Lynda,
Mhm.
is you've cultivated this ability to just really allow yourself to just be completely present in the moment. You trust this being that you are with. You consider it another big aspect of what makes sexuality spiritual and sacred is that you realize that what you're sharing together
Mhm.
is so precious. I mean, there's nothing more precious than sharing your love, of opening your vulnerability, your heart, of being seen in your body just the way it is, not trying to pretend anything else, not trying to perform. Just being seen is what we really want, what we really mean when we say intimacy, right? Just see me for who I am,
Mhm.
and just be here with me, and just hold me, and just love me. And sometimes it means intercourse. Sometimes it means a kiss. Sometimes it's wild and frenetic and crazy and just like passionate and fierce. And sometimes it's still.
Mhm.
So this allowing and experiencing and giving this to another, like if I share with my lover the essence of my aliveness, my juiciness, my actual fluids inside of me, that's really, really intimate.
Mhm.
And if I give that as a gift, I say, here, take take this from me. I want to give this to you. And my partner says, here's my essence. I want to give this to you. All right.
Mhm.
That is, in my book,
Mhm.
that's sacred. That is
Yeah.
spiritual, right?
Mhm.
Because we cherish the exchange,
Mhm.
and it
Yes.
makes us feel, it allows us to feel into dimensions that, I mean, we can have sex by ourselves, but when we share it with another,
Mhm.
everything goes exponentially into different dimensions. It becomes an exchange, an expansion. Our sexuality is, what I say is, it's an amplifier.
Mhm.
Okay, it's a catalyst energy. So if we're depressed and we hold this great energy in, and we crave after, and we can't find ways to have this aliveness, it will amplify this sadness and the feeling alone. Okay. And
That's true.
if we use if we use sex to amplify, catalyze our kindness and our self-kindness, okay, our aliveness, we will feel more alive. We will feel more connected.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Absolutely. And I would think that the energy, the positivity of this body that is being felt in those moments is going to help not only the body to function better and to live longer and to be more fully aware and connected and focused in this moment, but it just I think it's everything. It
Yes, I mean, that's exactly why I have another retreat that I do once a year, and I do it in Costa Rica, and it is called Mystic Rapture. And it's really a celebration of this. It is a celebration of when we use our intimacy and our connection and we share it this way. It actually increases our lifespan. We live longer.
Mhm.
Okay. Just like we can change our food, we can change our diet, our exercise, and so forth. When our intimacy becomes really mana, food, nourishment,
Mhm.
and it's exchanged beautifully, excuse me, not perfectly, but beautifully. I believe in awkwardness and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about performance. I'm not talking about doing it right. I am talking about it being like fully given and luxuriously so, so we can really, really nourish ourselves and be fed.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's not, it doesn't get better.
No, because it's all, like you said, it's all energy, right? And we're all light energy. So we amplify the light within us that nourishes all the cells, I would think. And then, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got it. Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Light is contagious. So is love.
And it's all intermixed. I mean, light and love, I don't see it separate from each other. It's like, right? It's all
Yes.
love and light. And
It
that's what
reminds me of
source is.
A Rumi poem. One of my little favorites. He says, I was out dancing beneath the stars last night. It's remarkably contagious. So kiss me.
What did you say at the end? I'm sorry. So
So
kiss me.
kiss me.
Yeah. So kiss me. I love that about Rumi. That's great. Oh, and I would love you to do one of your poems. You're a poet.
Oh
So,
my gosh. Do we have time really?
oh yeah, we do.
Okay, well, I have to go get my book.
Okay, go get your book and I'll talk a little bit. Okay, great. So you're listening to Moment, and I'm here on the first and third Wednesdays in Santa Fe on ksfr.org. You can go there and look up my shows, ksfr.org. We are talking to Amara Charles, who's going to be saying one of her wonderful poetry that I've heard when they were together outside at the Cheese Center, which is now called the Sanctuary. And I was just so deeply moved because she had music behind her and she flowed with the music so beautifully. So yeah, whatever you want to choose right now would be
Okay. I'm gonna do one that you haven't heard.
okay. Perfect.
Okay. It's called Aching to Open.
Mm.
And this is it's the title of my book,
Look, yeah,
Aching to Open.
gorgeous.
Okay. In every town, I have seen a woman digging angry holes in her garden, searching for her husband's eyes. Few can stand the searing wails of her manic fury, exposing the insanity that keeps ripping through the veils of her unfelt, forgotten body. Her longing still roams through the streets. Her yearnings will haunt you every single night, sooner or later, wildly escaping every law, every custom, all that is proper. There is no fury or hurt greater than a soul too afraid to open. There is no fury or hurt greater than a soul too afraid but aching to open. I know the moment of your fragile beauty when it was bruised and taken, I know that even the most well meaning words can be too fragile to hear. I can see how you've tried to be so strong, my dear. That is why I will call to you softly 1,000 times or more. I will touch you. I will leave my door open until you are ready. I will wait right here. Even if you recoil 100 times, bash down my offered hands again. I can see through the noble bars of your prison. You look so tired, locking yourself against the forces of love. It's exhausting, holding back, hoping for more time. The years and the body's resentments do not lie. Only the mind is clever enough to hide love for so long. It's only a powerful, clear, conscious love that can wake you from this unhealed dream. I will dwell in my own devotion and truth. I will grow stronger, more aware, waiting for you. So come, my dear, and be with me. Watch me carve my gratitude from God's loins. Why not eat and drink and laugh at the table once more? Lay down your burden of stones. Open gently and let this ordinary sunlight touch you once more. Let's speak of this glorious day.
Wow, I love that. Wow, what a journey I was just on here. That is gorgeous. Whew, thank you, boy.
Yeah,
I,
you're welcome.
yeah, this is a great gift to our listeners. So I think they'll be rewinding this for a while to listen to it again.
That's the
Thank
first
you.
time I've ever, recorded that.
Oh, that's great. Well, you did such a great job. I love it when you present it. Thank you. Do you do that in your workshops? Do you get to a chance to do that? To read
Oh,
your
I do a
poetry?
lot of fun things in my workshops. I
Oh,
I don't just read my poetry. I have people, do their own art sometimes. So
okay.
yeah, I do a lot of really fun things. I also teach a women's workshop where we get very, very creative. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we have, I think, 6 minutes left. Yeah.
Okay.
And all right. So you talk sometimes about the Dakini. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay. The fierce, luminous, feminine teachers. How do their stories speak to the moment in history? In this moment.
Wow. Okay.
Can we do that in 5 minutes?
Yes, we can. We
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Okay. So like this is like my really favorite thing is the need for the emergence of what I call the fierce and tender Dakini. We need that fierceness of the feminine and the tenderness.
Mhm.
So I want to tell because I think a lot of people don't even know what a Dakini is.
Right.
Okay. Um, a short story. I hope I can do this quickly enough. Starting with the Buddha, who was he was born a prince, and his mother died 7 days after he was born. He was raised by his stepmother, right? And so his father's a king, and his father was told by an astrologer that he would either turn into the world king or he would become a renunciate and he would be a monk, right? And so his father, of course, didn't want that to happen. But long story short, that, of course, does go out. The Buddha goes out, leaves the palace, is brought out by a woman. And just experiences life in the palace. He was all guarded, and he didn't see any suffering. But he goes out and he sees people are dying, people are suffering, and all kinds of things. And so he meets this Sidhu, he becomes a monk, and he goes and for years and he doesn't eat and he's almost dying. And this woman from the village comes up and gives him rice milk, like mother's milk, and it's very sweet. And he has this realization, oh, renunciation isn't the way. It's not going to lead to enlightenment. He wanted to know, he wanted to understand enlightenment, and he saw that wasn't going to do it. So, the feminine, the reason I bring this up is that the feminine of nurturing and sweetness and kindness is part of the Buddha's path and the realization that this tenderness is central and key to enlightenment. Now, fast forward 8,000 years, and the Tantra world, which there was many feminine teachers. People don't know this history. Many feminine teachers, very wise teachers, and they brought in the shamanic roots of intuition, instinct, the mysterious, the wild, not just the principles and all the intellectual stuff. So the Buddha was teaching many, after he had his enlightenment, he was teaching many, started monasteries, teaching mostly men.
Mm.
And many years later, his stepmom comes back and she asked to be, after it's a little bit established, she taught for about 50 years actually. After she wanted to take her vows, and the Buddha said no. And his assistant Ananda said, well, Buddha, why not? I mean, she walked for like a year to get there, and she's shaved her head and everything. Why can't she? And the Buddha thought about it, and it was actually the first time he changed his mind. And he thought about it, and he said, okay. So women were then allowed in to be nuns and be a Buddhist nun, and could become enlightenment in that path. And so the point of this is that the essence of the feminine for history has, for thousands of years, you asked, like, what is it to do with the parallel of today? Well, we're in a parallel time where we thought that the women's liberation and progress, it was just endless, and it was always we're going to get equal pay and you name it. Well, now there's this reemergence of the nasty feminine. That's the Dakini. She's nasty. She's wild. The Dakini was the fierce aspect of the feminine that essentially would embrace the darkness and chop it up into little pieces and feed it as a nectar to feed and illuminate the darkness. And if there's anything that I feel that we need today, is that we need to nourish and feed the darkness rather than fight and repress against it. And that's my little soapbox.
I
Because
love that. Yeah.
that is what I have a passion for, is that the emergence of the feminine. And it starts with an embracing and acceptance of who we really are in all of our aliveness, in all of our tender goodness, and all that we desire to give. But it's also our power, it's also our fierceness and our willingness to stand up and say, no, not under my watch. This is not okay. We need to do that in relationships. We need to do that politically. We need to do that in our families, to stand true to what we know is good and beautiful.
Mm, beautifully said. And I would say that it's when I've heard feminine mention, I've heard the divine feminine. Yeah, they would put the word divine feminine, right? That's what you're talking about is,
Absolutely,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, and
But it's not just like, oh, this divine
right.
out there in the clouds. It's
Mhm,
like when the sweetness happens in your body, and it's a roar or a moan.
mhm,
That
mhm,
is embracing the feminine. See, the feminine is all of nature. It's everything that alives. It is the Mother Earth. The Buddha
mhm,
touched the earth,
mhm, mhm,
and he got the nurturance and the aliveness. So it's connected to Gaia, to the
mhm.
earth. And if we lose that connection and we don't listen and look at the history of this, we will, you know,
Right.
live from only here up. And we want the whole body, the
Right.
whole body.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It-
What's also coming to mind is that women were, for fertilization, right? For multiplying this population, for use of that to be of service. And yet, we understand we're the creators of life as well, right? But that's not all. We didn't even mention it until the final end of the show. But sexuality is not just about reproducing, and creating life. It is life, right? It is the flowing of energy through our bodies that connect to all things, that is all God or source, whatever you want to say. And that's also part of it, that we are created by a creator and we are creating ourselves, right?
yes,
So it's all things. It's so much more than we anticipated it to be. Yeah. Thank
yes. And how we utilize the source of that creation. We can birth children, and certainly this is profound. But I ask the question, is that the only thing that women are meant to give birth to? And are people, governments, to tell us how to utilize our creative life force energy? It takes two to tango. Okay,
Mhm.
tango. Men are at least so far they're required
Yes.
the equation, right?
Mhm.
And so to regulate or to regulate it to be only a certain way at a certain time and at a certain manner, this goes against the vastness of what the feminine wild dakini is really about. That is called, ignorance. And I told that story because even the Buddha realized, hey, women, they may have a different journey. They do. We do. We are different.
Mhm.
It's not about being the same or equal. It's about honoring the differences. And women have a source of their spirituality, their physicality, their intellect, their ability to give birth. It's about being able to choose the path that we desire to fulfill in this lifetime and use this energy wisely.
Mm.
That's what I like to talk about.
Yes, and it also brings to mind when you say wisely, it's like like you said, you're giving a gift of yourself to someone else, and they're giving their gift to you. And so the partner that you choose is really, I think of it more of as a holy experience. So are you choosing the right partner that is really honoring the divine within yourself and that you are connected with the divine in him or her? That's something that we don't even think about. We just sort of think about it in terms of, oh, let's do it. But how sacred is it for you? How sacred? And do you want that person to be holding the sacred being of not of yourself and vice versa?
Yes.
I would
Well,
think that
in that beautiful, that is beautiful. And everything we do can be considered sacred. I mean,
Mhm.
cooking a meal together. I mean,
True.
we have to go through the stuff through this stuff and pay the taxes and all of that stuff, right? It's not separate. Okay. One of the questions I often get is, because I talk about, staying within challenges, and people ask me like, well, how do I know if I should stay in a relationship? And I think we should have another show about this.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
definitely.
like, how do I know? Should I stay in this relationship or should I go? And what I say, like, if there is some kind of abuse, don't talk yourself into staying.
Yeah,
Cultivate the ability and the alliances you need to get out. And so, make no mistake, it's not always, kindness and tenderness doesn't mean overlooking people's transgressions.
perfect. Thank you.
It does not mean so. It means that the strength and the honesty of saying, no, I deserve better than this. And I will move and find the way to honor this life. And sometimes that's why I call it limbo. Sometimes honoring is by leaving. And sometimes it's, when we're fortunate, God, I want to be with this person forever. I was like this life, next life, and the couple after that. Like,
Eternal.
right? And
Yes.
that's a great thing. And that's a great feeling. And if we do find someone in this path, in this lifetime, that, consents to hang around with us,
No
that puts
matter
up
what.
with us, then no matter what, and,
Yeah.
and that wants to just travel with us in this journey, put, don't tolerate the ups and downs of life. Learn ways to navigate that allow you to really enjoy the journey. That's that's
Mhm.
what that's why I have gatherings and I have a program and a coaching program and that I do because I do really believe that we have a precious little time here on this planet, in this body, in this particular incarnation. And so, why not really make the best of it? Why not really enjoy it? That's what I really do. And I do that with a lot of pleasure and hopefully a lot of beauty.
And what a beautiful way to end the show. Thank you so much. That was perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you're listening to Amara Charles, and you can reach her at amaracharles.com. and also hear it again on ksfr.org and on Spotify. Thank you for coming, and we will have to have another show.
Sounds good. All right.
Blessings to you,
Take
and
care,
we'll talk
sweetheart.
soon. Okay, love you.
Thank you. Love
Bye.
you. Bye.